Hey guys, welcome back to another video of AC Craftsmanship. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I was able to turn this cabinet into this one. Alright, without any interruptions, let's get started. Alright, and as usual, we're going to start off by showing you some pictures and video of how the cabinet used to be before any work was done. And as you can see, there's a lot of dirt and grime that's into it, and as well as some water damage that's noticeable in the bottom portion of the cabinet. Now for the drawers, they were not aligned, they were off the runners, so the runners had to be fixed up later on as I kept working on this. Alright, and just before I started to remove the hardware and the drawers, I actually cleaned up the dresser. I didn't show that on this video, but I pretty much used some mineral spirits, some water, and a damp towel to clean it off. Now for this part, I just pretty much used the Phillips screwdriver and unscrew everything that was attached to the drawers. Later on, for the hardware, I ended up just using a metal brush to scrape off any dirt that was into it. I didn't really do much to it besides the knobs. Now for some more of the prep work, as you can see in this part, there was a lot of water damage to this, so I just ended up using a spatula to scrape off the veneer that was into it. I made sure not to scratch any of the wood that was underneath, even though I knew I was going to be painting over it. I just still didn't want to ruin the wood. And of course I had to add gloves because I didn't want to get any splinters in my hand. This is pretty much how it looks after I did all the scraping and a little bit of sanding to make it all even. And those are the tools I used. Alright, now for this part of the prep work, I had to apply some stripper. Now for this, I've just put it on top of everything, and I wasn't afraid to get a little extra on top of it. And as you can see here, I did it to the top, to the sides, to the drawers, and pretty much everything that was noticeable. Now after the stripper had dry, I had to remove it, and all I did was use a plastic spatula to scrape off any of the excess stripper that was on top. And after I removed the stripper, I just pretty much used the mineral spirit to clean up any of the excess that was on there. And then after, I just did a little bit of light sanding to even everything out. Now after it was sanded down, it was pretty much ready to get some paint on it. And as you can see here, I only painted the bottom portion of the cabinet because I was gonna eventually add glaze to it. And this is pretty much me just painting the whole surface of the cabinet. Now I did 2 applications of paint, even though I don't show it here. I had to do 2 because I wanted it to really cover up that dark wood that was underneath. And this is pretty much how it looks after I painted everything down. And as you can see here, I also painted the doors and the faces of the drawers. Once the paint had dried, the next step was to apply stain. I started off with the top and did that little by little because I didn't want to have the stain be too dark. Now for this, I did 2 applications as well because the first one wasn't as dark as I wanted to. So while the stain was drying, I decided to add on the glaze to the sides and the faces of the drawers. Now to be honest, for this part I didn't really use the glaze. I still was using the stain that I had, and that's because I liked the way that it was gonna come out. Now after I applied everything, this is pretty much how it was looking. And as you can see here, the top looks pretty good and the sides looks pretty good as well. Now for the back, as you can see, there's no more water damage and it's starting to look pretty good. Now just before I finished everything up, I had to repair the runners. Now as you can see here, the runners were just being held on by heavy duty staples. All I had to do was remove those and replace them with some of my own. Even though it might seem simple, this took me a little bit of time. I even had to use a hammer to get some of the staples out. Now with the runners already fixed up, all I had to do was apply a little bit of polyurethane. And for this, I put it on the sides, the back, and the faces of the drawers. Alright, and once everything had dried, all I pretty much had to do was put everything back together. So I started with the hardware so I can put the doors back on, and then I moved on to the drawers. And after I put the drawers back on, all I pretty much had to do was install the knobs. Alright, and after I did all that, we're pretty much all done. So here's a walkthrough of how everything turned out, alongside with some pictures. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for another video. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like And if you like this type of videos, just subscribe because I'm going to be making a lot more of these videos.